Welcome to this training video covering the 10 most common SEO myths. Now, I'm going to start by talking about the same thing that I did in the preview for this training video, just because it's important to this discussion. So if you just watch the training preview, feel free to skip ahead. Alright, so this video is intended to not only reveal the most common myths, but also to give you some details on why they're myths and how you can use this to further improve your own SEO and your actual rankings. So there's so much misinformation about adult SEO floating around the boards in this industry that it's really easy for somebody looking for answers to be immediately misled by somebody perceived to be a reputable source. And this perception might be due to a guy's post count or his time in the industry or to his accomplishments even, real or perceived. And this is a real problem because all of these bits of misinformation often lead to months and sometimes years of inefficient efforts that slow your progress. And if you're sitting on the other side of the desk, holding on to these myths can lead you to be misguided or even taken advantage of by some unethical SEO guys out there. For example, you might be told that on-page optimizations or maybe technical tweaks are all that's needed to rank well, or that all you need is a big-ass network of blogs spread across a bunch of servers. You might be told that you need daily updates in order to stay on Google's radar, or that you need to shell out for a bunch of new content to avoid duplicate content penalties. But knowing the truth behind these commonly spread myths will save you real time, and it will save you real money. You'll be able to spend your time working on what really matters, and your ranks, your traffic, your revenue, they'll all increase because of it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with the first big myth. What you learned about SEO years ago is still relevant now. So it's easy to view the fundamentals of SEO as unchanging, but this really isn't true. The web itself progresses very quickly. It's an ever-changing environment that has to keep up with a lot of the trends and a lot of new demands. And this is especially true for SEO. Back when I got started, the fundamentals of SEO were designed around on-page factors, meaning keyword optimization, meta tags, formatting tags, sitemaps, and internal linking methods. The work you put into your actual web pages had a significant impact on your search rankings, hence the acronym SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. Simply optimizing your pages nowadays, though, isn't going to have the same effect on how well you rank, since more value is now placed on your external linking networks. Also, computer software, hardware, networking resources, they've all advanced to the point where search engines no longer have to rely on what you say about your site. They can really go out and fetch real-time data to determine your website's value based on hundreds of external factors, many of which are outside of your direct control. And this ultimately results in higher quality, more relevant search engine listings. And it's a natural progression that happened to change the fundamentals of SEO in the process. So what used to work a couple of years ago doesn't necessarily work now, and what's working now might change again in the next couple of years. I mean, consider the fact that Google makes changes to its algorithm over 400 times every year. SEO is always moving, and your methods and strategies have to move with it. Alright, myth number 9. Page optimization is all that's needed to rank. As I just touched on, it's a myth that all you need to do to rank is optimize your pages. The quality and quantity of external links pointing your website is far more important these days. However, this isn't to say that optimization isn't important. It still is, and it should still be done. It just can't be seen as an end-all to an SEO campaign. Now, a few on-page factors that you do want to pay attention to, though, are your title tags, because they're important for ranking and also for your click-through rates. Your description tags, because they can also be good for your click-through rates. Your site architecture, categorized multi-level architecture. It's good for SEO as well as for usability. Your internal linking structure, how you direct traffic flow, and how accessible you make supporting content. They all aid in the overall indexing and subsequent rankings. And finally, site health. Too many broken links, 404 errors, 301 redirects, slow page load times, they can all be detrimental to your rankings. All right, myth number 8. Keyword density is important. How many keywords used throughout your content used to matter a long time ago. Search engines have advanced beyond this, though. They don't really need to see a keyword repeated over and over within a body of text to realize that it's the topic of your page. Not only can search engines determine this from many external sources as well as from your own content, but they're really good at recognizing related keywords. And they actually prefer that your content use a lot of related words rather than keyword stuffing, since it makes for more human readable content. I mean, at the end of the day, Google would rather deliver a page with a few related terms that support the overall topic of a page rather than deliver a page that has met some arbitrary keyword density percentage. Myth number 7, meta tags matter. The truth is that meta tags really don't matter anymore, except for the title and description tags and maybe some caching tags that can help speed up your page load times a bit. But meta keyword tags, for example, they've been ignored completely by all search engines for the last few years. The only exception is Bing, who might actually use the presence of keyword tags as an indicator of web spam. They've literally been abused into oblivion. Other meta tags, like index follow, are totally obsolete. They used to tell search engine bots to crawl all pages of a website, but this is now assumed, unless you specifically direct bots not to. Oh, and I would also like to bring up the title tag, the one used within links. This too, it was abused so much that it's now completely ignored by search engines and therefore useless these days. And the same goes with HTML comment tags and no script tags. All right, myth number 6, Google PageRank is important. I think Google PageRank is good for a couple of specific things, but neither of them have anything to do with how well a site will actually rank. And so from an SEO perspective, I'd say the importance of PageRank is a total myth. The level of PageRank a site has is really no indicator whatsoever of how well it can rank. And even the PageRank that we can see, it's only a snapshot of what the PageRank was the last time that it was updated. So I think PageRank is only useful for when you're trying to buy, sell, or trade links. Because from a seller's perspective, PageRank makes the price go up. And from a buyer or trader's perspective, PageRank can be used as an indicator of the level of trust that Google has for the site. And of course, more trust equals more link value. All right, myth number 5, Black Hat doesn't work anymore. This is a big myth. Now, Black Hat, for those who don't know, it's SEO strategies that don't exactly follow Google's guidelines. Most of these strategies, they involve automated content creation and usually some form of link spamming. Successful Black Hat strategies are usually the reason behind Google's biggest algorithm changes. And it's really just a constant battle between webmasters who want to rank well and Google, who wants to display only the most relevant and useful sites in its search results. And because of this, it's a constant battle. It's the reason this myth was born, that Black Hat doesn't work anymore. Because as soon as you start making some money through a new Black Hat strategy, Google tends to shut it down. But this doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It only means that Black Hat strategies are often short-term ones. And short-term opportunities are still opportunities. There's countless industries built upon short-term opportunities, and it's really only the guys who can't develop and adapt new strategies quickly enough that get discouraged. And it's not to say that these guys lack skills, it's just that not everybody feels security from a short-term business model. And another source of this myth are the many mainstream SEO resources out there. They talk about white hat till they're blue in the face. You know, only the strictest of white hat methods are endorsed, and any mentions of black hat are often shot down quickly. You know, they wag their fingers and talk about ethics, they talk about longevity, but the funny thing is most of the guys crying about it, they complain about black hat competitors outranking them and how unfair that is. So they know it works, but they still scoff at it. So how come? Well, as they say, if you want the truth, you need to follow the money. Most of these guys, like in any industry, they maintain a public presence in these communities as a means to build reputation and to find new clients. They're networking. You know, they're sharing insights, their insights to strengthen their reputation, and they're referencing all the publicity they get to new potential clients. So the last thing they want clients to see is that they endorse black hat strategies. And it makes sense. Black hat done wrong can make a company look terrible. And it's always this worst case scenario that people think of first. Also, you can't expect a potential client to understand the varying degrees of black hat strategies and how some of them, when done well, can improve rankings while staying totally transparent within a link profile. So by staying on the white hat side of things, they're able to maintain good reputations, which is good for business. But this also means that the casual surfer could read through all of these resource sites and, come to the logical conclusion that black hat is evil, that it's practiced in dimly lit basements by hackers and con men. But in reality, it's found in regular office buildings and cubicles, and it's found in the form of data scraping and automation tools. When done right, it's a process of scaling up what you normally do manually. So instead of finding a dozen high-value link sources each week, you could use black hat tools hidden behind proxies to find hundreds of high-value links each week. And these are sources that you can contact personally to negotiate new links from. It's the same white hat procedure for building links, just at a bigger, more competitive scale. Another example is, say you know the value of social bookmarking and of social networking. Setting up accounts and getting your links out to these places is a commonly practiced SEO method. But instead of creating a few new accounts each week, you can use black hat methods to create hundreds of accounts and then slowly drip feed your links across all of them over a period of months. It mimics the same process that you would normally do manually, only you automate it to free up your time to work in other areas of your campaign. So whether or not you personally agree with these methods, the fact is that these black hat methods have always been around, and they're constantly evolving with every new Google algorithm change, making the idea that they don't work anymore a myth. All right, so what's next? Myth number 4, a big network of blogs will improve your rank. Okay, this isn't so much a myth as it's misunderstood, and the work and time involved is often very underestimated. Your own network of blogs, once filled with content and ranking, they can pass value onto your main sites that can improve rankings, but the idea that all you need is a big blog network is not true. Now, the idea behind blog networks for SEO is to have your own internal source of backlinks. If you have a CAM site and you build out 20 CAM blogs that all link back to you, then you'll rank better. And even more so if you spread your 20 blogs out across a bunch of hosting accounts to hide the fact that you own them. But this doesn't work as well as it used to, since these days Google has a lot more methods of discovering the true ownership of sites and how they relate to your main site. Every site has a footprint, which is an identifying element. Some of the bigger footprints include your IP, your CMS, such as WordPress, your design, your layout, your theme, your stats package, your affiliate URLs, your domain registrar, the list goes on. So when somebody suggests that all you need to do is build out 20 blogs and spread them across different servers, all they're doing is masking one footprint, which is the IP. Another common footprint is your Google Analytics account. So to mask this one, a lot of these guys suggest using an alternative stats package called pWick. Now, assuming that you don't use the same pWick account on all 20 blogs, which would effectively create a new footprint, you're still only masking 2 footprints. In order to have a shot at fooling Google, you would really need to mask your affiliate IDs using various scripts. You would need to randomize your themes, your posting or your content style, your ad server code, your domain registrars. Basically, to do the job right requires some serious effort. And say you do that. Say you cover every footprint you can think of, and now you have 20 seemingly unrelated to CAM blogs. But now if you link them all to your main site at once, it's going to be obvious that something's up, since all of a sudden you get 20 brand new links from related blogs. 20 blogs that were all created within the same period of time and created after your main site was. And if you don't continue to get more links from new CAM sites month after month, then the linking pattern is going to look really unnatural, which might raise an additional flag. And even beyond this, before you can get value from these blogs, you first need to build the value of each individual blog, because they need value to be able to pass value. This means setting up link trades, maybe buying links, keeping up with updates, maybe setting up some social accounts for them, letting them age, letting them fill out with content. So it's because of all this, the real time and effort that it takes to make them valuable, that I decided to include it as an SEO myth. And besides, if your intention behind a blog network is purely to boost the rank of another site, imagine what you could do if you focused all of that time and creative energy into improving the rank of your main site. I bet you anything you could build out more than the 20 links that your big blog network would give you. All right, that brings us to our top 3 myths. Myth number 3, negative SEO can kill your ranks. Okay, so negative SEO, for those who aren't familiar with this term, is when other webmasters intentionally try to sabotage your rankings by spamming the web with a ton of shitty links. By doing this, they're hoping that search engines will penalize your site or otherwise devalue it, allowing them to overtake your rank and the traffic that comes with it. Negative SEO is, for practical purposes, a myth. Now, I say this because although it is possible to have your website rank sabotaged, it's highly unlikely that it's actually going to happen. First of all, how susceptible you are depends on your own site. Depends on how old it is, how many backlinks you have, how many of those links are high quality, and how attentive you are to it. Basically, the weaker your site and the less attentive you are to it, the more vulnerable you are to negative SEO attacks. And if your site is weak enough for this, competitors could just as well pass you in the SERPs on their own merit. Strong sites, on the other hand, those that have earned trust and authority, that have a healthy portfolio of backlinks and a strong network with other related and trusted sites, they're more immune to negative SEO attempts. And here's why. Guys who attempt negative SEO normally do so by using automation tools in order to hit the link volumes needed to get Google's attention. These links will therefore be very low quality, which is the whole point of it, But when your site is already trusted and established, Google is simply going to devalue all those shitty links to the point that they're useless, rather than kick you out of their SERPs. So if you see a bunch of bad links popping up in your link profile, it's possible somebody's trying to hurt your ranks, but it's very unlikely that they'll actually succeed. So instead of worrying about how to remove all those links, it's far better to just counter the negative efforts by building more high-value links instead. Now, shitty links aren't the only method used for negative SEO. There are some nasty tricks out there that determined people can do. Things that I don't really want to make into common knowledge here, but they're very rare, and they're usually used against people that they have personal beef with, more so than just a site they want to surpass in Google. And because these are so rare, I don't really think they're a cause for worry. So as far as I'm personally concerned, effective negative SEO is nothing to worry about. All right, myth number 2, frequent updates are important for your rankings. This is a myth, despite what you might think otherwise. Updated pages are not necessary to rank well. Google is stuffed with stale pages that hold top ranks. Updating, it's useful for getting new ranks. It's good for adding depth and authority to your site, and of course it's great for sales, but it's not necessary to maintain a high rank. And that brings us to our number 1 myth. Duplicate content can get you penalized. It's another myth. Google is not going to penalize you for dupe content. It may not be super excited about it, but at most it's only going to devalue the page that has the content. So it's in your interest to use unique content, sure, but you're not going to have your site de-indexed or anything because you don't. I personally have hundreds of blogs that all use RSS feeds from sponsors as content, and they rank just fine. And this makes sense really because content syndication, it's a big driving force behind the web. All the major media sites do it, and it's a staple among bloggers. It's because of this that Google recommends that you use canonical tags to inform it of the origin of your content rather than avoid using the content altogether. All right, so it looks like that wraps up this video on some of the more common myths about adult SEO. There's of course a lot more than just these 10 floating around, and there's more points to be made about the 10 that I talked about here. So if you would like to add anything to this, just head over to the Pro Members Q&A board and we'll continue the discussion there.